Here at Mary Trump Media, we've been following the development of town halls across the United States, and one thing has become increasingly clear. These town halls have become one of the only spaces where Americans can make their voices heard. And where have we seen the most pushback? Republican town halls. This week was full of them. And spoiler alert, it did not go well for the Republicans hosting them. Let's start with Spokane, Washington. On Monday, March 17th, Representative Michael Baumgartner faced voters at a Spokane town hall where his blind loyalty to Donald and his policies came under serious fire.
Well, a Washington congressman faced lots of booing last night as he held a town hall event in Spokane. Representative Michael Baumgartner was speaking at Whitworth College when people voiced their frustrations with his support of President Trump and his actions. They were also upset when Baumgartner echoed Trump talking points.
If we could get Greenland peacefully, I'm all for it, and we should have never given up Panama.
Yeah, well, how's that working out for you, Representative Baumgartner? Pretty sure the people in that room did not elect you to do that. When confronted over Donald's threats of taking over Canada, Baumgartner continued to dig himself into a hole, which I have to confess, I think is a special skill that is reserved almost solely for Republicans at this point.
I've been in Spokane for 39 years from New Jersey. I've never been involved in politics before, but this is getting really scary. Okay, so the things that frighten me is the way this insane president talks about Canada as a 51st state. Taking Panama by force and buying Greenland. How does this person qualify as sane? Why is he not being impeached right now?
In short, I don't support us absorbing Canada. Canada, that would be like taking. Canada's been a good neighbor. Canada is much more liberal and left-wing than the United States. If we took Canada, taking Canada would be like taking another California. It would tilt things towards the Democrats. Yeah. If we took Canada, the Republicans would never have control again. So we don't want that to happen.
Okay, that's a low bar. He stops at not taking Canada, but his reason is terrible. I mean, yes, he does make some claim that Canada's been a good ally, but mostly, oh, they're liberal. And it would be like having another guy. That is not why you do not invade and invade and appropriate an entire other country, because you don't like their politics. Read the room. I mean, if I cared, I'd say, please take a shovel away, but I don't. So keep digging, idiot. Anyway, talk about, they're just not listening because they don't want to hear. These voters, most of whom probably voted for him, by the way. I mean, I don't know the demographics of Spokane. I think that's how it's pronounced. But he's a Republican congressman, and chances are it's either a very 50-50 place or it's mostly Republican. So a lot of people in that room probably voted for him. And they very clearly can articulate exactly what they know is going on. His boss, who, by the way, shouldn't be, because technically speaking, members of Congress do not work for the executive branch. They're supposed to be co-equal and separate. His boss, Donald Trump, as was said very clearly during that town hall, is insane. He's out of his mind. Out of his fucking mind. And those voters know it. Those American citizens know it. And they want somebody who still has power to do something about it, except here's the problem. Republicans in Congress who actually do control things, because Democrats have no power, have ceded all of their power to the executive branch, which basically means they've ceded all of their power to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, of all people. Voters have also been demanding answers about a recent ICE raid in Spokane Valley, where 2 green card holders were violently removed from their car and arrested. Baumgartner refused to condemn the incident, instead blaming Washington's sanctuary status, a response that thankfully only fueled more outrage. It didn't stop there. The audience pressed him on the Trump regime's defiance of court orders. Baumgartner sidestepped the question, vaguely criticizing judicial overreach. Just, I want to translate. If you're a Republican, judicial overreach means any decision a judge gives that you don't like, but refusing to commit to upholding the court's authority. That is very dangerous, but he doesn't care. When he tried to compare Donald's legal troubles to Biden's block student debt relief, which is, I don't know, that's like landing a triple axle, I think. Basically, it didn't land well, unlike a triple axle would, if you're good at what you do. But one of the biggest flashpoints of the night was healthcare, as it should be. Baumgartner claimed that Social Security and Medicare wouldn't be cut, but then turned around and endorsed Medicaid work requirements. That's a contradiction. When pressed on broader healthcare cuts, he dodged specifics, prompting accusations of outright lying, because he's lying. Outside the event, protesters gathered holding signs like, "Michael, do your job. Michael, grow a spine." Yeah, well, I think that's just sort of not going to happen, because I'm not entirely sure he has one. Looks like it's completely missing in action, especially when asked if he would ever stand up to the Trump regime.
This is a question that comes from Barbara and can serve as our concluding question for the night. Regarding checks and balances between the different branches of government. Given the trajectory of the administration, the continued agreement of the Republican Party, is there a line in the sand for you? That is to say, is there any point at which you might stand up and tell them no? What is, in the interest of your people in Eastern Washington, what is your line in the sand?
Well, in general, I swore an oath to the Constitution. It's very serious to me. I swore an oath to the Constitution before I went to Iraq. I swore an oath to the Constitution becoming a member of Congress. I would say that I understand this room is different than the rest of Eastern Washington, but you guys, you are. So.
Oh, okay. That just answered a question for me. You guys don't count because you probably didn't vote for me after all. That's not how this is supposed to work. They're your constituents. Do your job. But in the end, he didn't get the point because he doesn't want to get the point. Watch this clip.
You have a perception that America is spiraling to some kind of constitutional crisis. Yeah. And by and large, while I would have some disagreements with President Trump on some things like tariffs and some other issues, by and large, what people of America see, what people of Eastern Washington see, is President Trump delivering on his promises. And so,
wow, that's breathtaking. Huh. He must get paid more than I think he gets paid, because I've often tried to think of the number it would take to get me to lie so blatantly to people who put their faith in me, and I can't come up with one. I guess if you're a Republican, that kind of behavior comes cheap, because all you care about is your petty power and not getting on the wrong side of the most unhinged, bizarre, and quite frankly, monstrous human being on the planet. Perhaps the most unexpected, because none of that's unexpected. I mean, it's bad, but it's not unexpected. The most unexpected of the night was this.
That being said, how will you respond to the allegations that you've been using the LGBT dating app Grindr in secret? This is my wife.
Oops. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing that's actually happened. I don't know if that's a rumor, but listen, if you are going to hold a town hall, disrespect your constituents, dismiss their concerns, mock them, and lie to their faces, everything's fair game. After this total disaster of an event for Baumgartner, he hinted this may be his last in-person town hall. I guess he didn't get the memo because these horrible town halls have been going on. I mean, horrible for Republicans, have been going on for a while now, and leadership has said, don't hold them anymore. But I guess he wasn't listening. Or he thought that he was special and above it all. Instead, he suggested switching to telephone town halls. In other words, avoiding accountability altogether. So yeah, that tracks. He's a Republican and he likes Donald. Of course, he couldn't leave without playing the victim, insisting that the only reason people were angry was because they didn't vote for Donald. Well, he's really clueless. He does not understand that when I say it's the finding out phase, that's for the people who fucked around, which is not us. That's the people who did vote for him, who are beginning to understand, oh, wait. He lied about everything. He pretended that people like me, people who support him, people who are white and Christian and male are going to be just fine. But you're deporting my wife and you're taking away my farm. And I'm not going to have Social Security or Medicaid. It wasn't supposed to be me. I was supposed to be able to afford food for my family. I was supposed to be able to provide them with health care. I was supposed to be able to have a say in how my country is run. And you're taking all of that away from me, not just them. So that's the message to Republicans. These are your people who are talking to you, and you are not at all interested in hearing it. So before we dive in further, there are more town halls we want to talk about. Please take a second to like and share this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us tremendously. And click the bell icon so you will never miss an episode. Baumgartner was not the only Republican who did not get the memo and put himself in the hot seat this week. On Tuesday, Representative Mike Flood, who's a Republican from Nebraska, held a town hall in Columbus, and it went off the rails pretty quickly.
As Republican lawmakers are being discouraged to hold town halls, Nebraska Republican Congressman Mike Flood powered on.
Let's talk about that. So your proposal to solve this is to tax the rich.
Nebraskans grilled Flood from Social Security to international relations.
Would you agree that your constituents are the boss of you, not President Trump?
I am accountable to you.
For 90 minutes, about 400 Nebraskans attended the town hall, many taking aim at Congressman Flood.
Is there anything you will do to stand up against Trump?
A great majority of Nebraskans and those in the 1st District voted to elect Donald Trump president in this state.
Okay, but that's the problem is, yes, they did vote for him, but he also lied to them, and what they expected is not happening, and you don't care. Also, the phrase deer in headlights that comes to mind. Flood's defense of Musk and Doge also drew loud boos because nobody voted for that. You cannot pretend that anybody voted for that because that did not happen at all. Voters demanded answers about reported security breaches by Doge employees and Musk's unchecked influence over federal agencies. See, people are paying attention, and Republicans aren't used to that either. And when Flood claimed that Donald's tariffs were successful in his first term, the crowd absolutely erupted. He struggled to justify the impact of these economic policies, while attendees blamed him for rising prices and market instability. And when it came to healthcare, it became clear just how little Flood has done on Capitol Hill in the interest of his constituents. Play the clip.
Why did you vote in favor of a resolution budget that will cut $800 billion to Medicaid when people in Nebraska benefit greatly from that program?
I think what you're talking about is the budget reconciliation process. We have not put together, we don't have an architecture on how those dollars would be cut. We have not seen the bill come back from the Senate yet. So it is premature. But the good news about this is all of you are going to get a chance to see any of the proposed cuts before anybody votes on it.
Yeah, you're going to get to see it. Then we're going to vote however Donald wants us to vote anyway. That sounds great. Also, it is a little embarrassing when your constituents are more informed about the issues than you are, and you're the representative representing them, allegedly. The audience also pressed Flood on Donald's blatant disrespect for America's allies.
Hi, I do want to thank you for actually doing a town hall, so thank you for that. The rest of it's probably not going to be so pleasant. So first of all, I do want to say shame. I want to say shame for your comment, your quote that you said, President Zelensky's approach today was disrespectful to President Trump and undermines the goal of bringing peace and that. So shame on that.
I do believe that White House meeting was a disaster. And I believe that President Zelensky should have signed that agreement.
It's just hard to know anymore. Are these people also insane? Like, do they just see the world through a prism that renders everything exactly as Donald Trump sees it? Like that everything that happens redounds to his benefit and his glory? No objective, sane person can look at what happened in that Oval Office meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky on the one hand and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance on the other and come to the conclusion that the problem in that room was Zelensky. There's just no way. If you are an honest, rational, reasonable, sane person, you cannot come to that conclusion. And if you come to the conclusion that Zelensky was the problem, then either you are a deeply, deeply compromised individual, or like Donald, you're insane. Finally, a young woman had the courage to hold her representative accountable for backing a predator in the White House. Take a look.
I just think we all deserve to know why you choose to support the president who has constantly sexually harassed young women and his own daughter. I mean, the comments he made about his own daughter. Standing this far away from you, I feel so uncomfortable in my own high school. I don't know why you choose to support someone like that. It's hurting me every day. I just want to know what you think about that and all the comments he's made about women that way, like sexually harassing everybody. And his own daughter, the things he makes about his own daughter, is disgusting.
First of all, if you're a student here at Columbus Public Schools, you are very fortunate to go to a school that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And I would imagine the school administrators here and the teachers have a tremendous amount of respect for you. And you should feel safe here. This should be a place where you feel safe. The people of Columbus are good people, and they want you to have the best opportunity at an education and opportunities in life as possible. And I want that for you too. As it relates to your question, at the end of the day, we need, as Americans, and I'm trying to do it tonight, many of you are trying to do it tonight, we need to treat each other better. We need to understand that these issues aren't red or blue issues. These are American issues.
Is he kidding? I mean, is that a joke? That's his answer. She doesn't feel safe in that school. Oh, you respect the school and that's supposed to, like, what does that even mean? Nobody respects you. She should feel safe in that school. She doesn't feel safe in that school because you're in it. And you are an enabler of a man who has been legitimately and accurately, in many cases, and believably accused of sexual assault and worse. You support a man who is an adjudicated rapist. That's why she doesn't feel safe, because you're okay with that. You're okay with men who have power sexually assaulting women and girls like her. That's why she's afraid, you fucking enabler. Not because of Donald, but because you and people like you have given him more power to cause the kinds of grievous harm he has been causing his entire life. I'd say look in the mirror, but you are beyond hope, clearly. And I cannot wait for the day you get voted out of office. Hopefully by that young woman, because that would be poetic justice. Representative Flood held the event like Baumgartner, despite leadership advising against such rash things, rash decisions like, oh my God, a representative holding a town hall. We can't do that. Yeah, they fear the backlash, not just the backlash in the room, but, the videos that follow. His attempt, though, to frame the event as a lesson in democracy did absolutely nothing to calm the crowd that was quite furious by the time he was through with them. Because, let's face it, this is about one side versus the other. Don't get me wrong. I think the crisis we're facing, let me rephrase, the crises we're facing right now are beyond politics and they're beyond policy. We are facing an existential crisis that requires us to meet this moment in a particular way. But when we are in that room discussing the issues, because that is not the place for those constituents to be talking about the larger issues. They want to know what's going on and how it's impacting their lives, and what they want to know what's happening to their country. That is a red and blue issue. And the problem here is all red, because the Republican Party is in charge of everything, and they have willfully turned themselves in to a fascist party wholly in support of fascists who wish all of us, including their constituents, nothing but ill. Now, while Baumgartner and Flood faced their constituents, others decided to just ghost their constituents entirely, just to completely evade any responsibilities they may feel, to the extent they feel anything, towards the people who put them in office, or at least towards the people they're supposed to be representing. Representative Mike Collins, a Republican of Georgia, didn't even show up to his own town hall in Athens, Georgia, where over 250 constituents were left waiting for him. This was originally planned for a small venue, but the event was moved to an auditorium at the Athens Clarke County Library because of the massive turnout. Do you know how unusual this is? The setting couldn't have been more fitting, considering the Trump regime just slashed $5 million in federal funding for public libraries in Georgia. Barbara Burt, one of the event's organizers, put it best, quote, "Even in the library here, we are seeing the effect of these cuts that are sort of mysterious and hidden," unquote. Well, maybe not so mysterious, maybe not so hidden. Even though Collins was a no-show, the audience still demanded answers, writing down questions to be sent to his office, to which I would say, guys, I appreciate the effort, but don't hold your breath. With Collins missing in action, Georgia State Representative Spencer Fry, Ruwa Rahman, and Senator Josh McLaurin stepped up to hear their concerns, and here are some of them. A former U.S. Geological Survey researcher who lost her position due to the Trump regime's agency cuts affecting avian flu research. A University of Georgia professor warning that federal education cuts are hurting special education programs and weakening U.S. research prominence on the global stage. a former combat medevac pilot, condemning the Trump regime's attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the military. That pilot is a woman. And Senator Josh McLaurin didn't hold back, calling the Trump regime's chaos a direct threat to democracy. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that he's a Democrat. So, where was Representative Mike Collins while his constituents were demanding answers, waiting for him to give them some? He was posting on Twitter about impeaching Judge Boasberg. Quote, "I don't remember voting for any federal judges last November," unquote. Well, you know what? If you think, Mike Collins, that's how it works, you do not deserve to be a member of Congress. I don't know what else to tell you. That's not how the judiciary works. Yeah, so that's right. The people who put him in office showed up. He couldn't even bother to face him. And then he starts tweeting about something with such breathtaking ignorance or mendacity or some combination of the two that it's becoming more and more clear to those who haven't been paying attention that this is the Republican Party. It is a party of ignorance. It is a party of lies. It is a party that is wholly in service to one man. They are not in service at all to their constituents, even those who voted for them. The Republican Party is now, to a person, a party of fascists and fascism. So let's just look that straight in the face, shall we? Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.